This is the Washington Times front page for Monday, June 12th, 2023. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Former President Trump's attorneys will have to defeat more than 36 charges to assure he stays out of prison as he campaigns for a second White House term. Susan Ferricchio reports special counsel Jack Smith said his office will seek a speedy trial in the Southern District of Florida, where Trump will surrender and be formally charged on Tuesday. He faces 37 counts related to his handling of classified documents. Trump is refuting prosecutors' charges that he deliberately and carelessly retained batches of classified documents and enlisted a key aide, who was also indicted, to move them around his Mar-a-Lago estate. Photos from the indictment show documents strewn about his home, including being stored in a bathroom. The long-awaited battlefield debut of hypersonic weapons was largely a bust, but experts say it had much more to do with who pulled the trigger than underlying problems with the technology. Ben Wolfgang reports Russia's hypersonic missiles have failed to hit their targets in Ukraine on multiple occasions. In many cases, they've been intercepted by U.S.-made Patriot missiles fielded by Ukrainian forces. Experts say Russia and China appear to be ahead of the U.S. in their ability to field hypersonic systems, but those systems are not usually ready for prime time. U.S. scholars insist the dismal performance of Russia's hypersonic arsenal offers only one clear lesson: that the Russian products were poorly constructed. Domestic airports have become the latest front line on border crossings. Stephen Dinan reports officers manning the country's non-land ports of entry, which are mainly airports but also include seaports, counted nearly 50,000 unauthorized migrants in April, or roughly 3 times the rate just a year ago. Administration officials see the numbers as a victory, figuring that each migrant coming to a port of entry is one who didn't pay a smuggling cartel and didn't try to jump the southern U.S. border with Mexico. Others see the shift as an attempt to disguise the true size of the immigration problem, pointing out that migrants are still considered inadmissible, but no longer show up in the Border Patrol's apprehension numbers. You can find all of these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. And a quick programming note, the front page will be off for the remainder of the week, June 13th through June 16th, and will return on Monday, June 19th. Younger workers are taking on more side hustles, and older workers are unretiring to offset rising costs and low-income growth. Sean Salai reports multiple studies have tracked increases in the self-employed gig economy and returns to the workforce by people who retired during COVID-19 restrictions. Financial analysts attribute the trend to the combined influence of a strong labor market, more people working from home, and slow economic growth. The Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that the number of Americans 75 and older in the labor force will grow 96.5% by 2030 as more senior workers defer retirement or unretire to cover expenses. White House correspondent Jeff Murdoch looks at President Biden's battle for what he calls the soul of America, which has framed his presidency and re-election run. In 2020, he described it as restoring morality after the tumultuous 4 years of the Trump administration. Then it became staunchly more political and used to excoriate Republicans' philosophy as semi-fascism. In a 3-minute video to launch his re-election campaign, the president vowed to fight Republican extremists who are telling people who they can love and dictating what healthcare decisions women can make. And finally, the South Korean government has given China's ambassador a dressing down after remarks he made during a meeting with the leader of the opposition party. According to reports, South Korea sternly warned the ambassador about unreasonable and provocative remarks that could be construed as interference in domestic politics. The warning comes after a debate over a Japanese plan to release coolant water from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant that was damaged by a tsunami a decade ago. Japan's plan to release the water into the Pacific Ocean has sparked regional unease and demands for transparency. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. And a reminder that the front page will be off for the remainder of the week, Tuesday, June 13th through Friday, June 16th, and will return on Monday, June 19th. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.